It's finally snowing this morning. Right, Fred? Got your little lamb chop. Hi, Salem. I'll have to tell you the story of Salem maybe a little bit before this video. Hold on. Coffee. Good morning. So, today is a little bit different of a video. I'm trying to, not so much vlog in this one per se, but I'm trying to get back to what I used to like to do, which was make really like more artsy films, not films, but like vloggy type videos with just showing clips of my life. That cat's new. You might hear them. Fred, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Silly. Hang on. He heard me talking, so of course, naturally, he needed to get himself a bone, so you'll be hearing that here shortly. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I think that story of the cat will come in another video. It's still relatively new. As far as I know, he's a stray, but he might have a chip in him, so after a vet appointment on Monday, we'll see if I keep him or not. However, this video is about my darkness and my relationship with darkness and dark thoughts and things like that, and this was inspired by the lovely AnnMaddox. Her video on this was a lot more succinct than mine's probably going to be. I am verbose, but I try to, I think faster than I can say the words out loud, so I tend to pause a lot, so that's why my videos are always so long, and oops, sorry, since I don't really edit them much, they tend to be a little bit longer and more drawn out, so I apologize for that. But in case you're wondering, I do have my notes right here in front of me, so I'll be looking at these here and there. I have a hard time looking directly at the camera anyhow, because I tend to look at myself and not the actual viewfinder. I'm sure you've already noticed that. But anyway, I'm babbling. Let's get on with it. So I guess we'll start off from when I was a child. I was always really into like witches and like dirt. I was more into, like, I don't know, I guess what would be typically considered boy things until, well, it was always drilled into my head that I'm a girl, you know, very gender binary system. And, I didn't see anything wrong with that up until my teen years, but that's beside the point, because mainly my mother specifically was very much boys are blue, girls are pink, girls like pink, that's what girls like. They don't like black, they don't like dark, they don't like, they're happy, fun, go lucky, pink, pastels, Easter colors, blah 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 blah, which I did like pink. I do like pink, but the amount in which I liked pink at the time, if that makes sense, I believe it was very heavily influenced by my mom. And of course, being a toddler and a child. I had no other frame of reference, and it was the early 90s, so like everything was gender binary, like boy girl specific, even down to like toy commercials and all that shit. So as much as I enjoyed the, like, so for example, Disney villains, I grew up on Disney, which is its own set of problems, but that's neither here nor there. I was obsessed with The Little Mermaid, and as someone who I wanted to be Ariel because I liked her red hair, essentially. I liked her red hair. I liked that she swam. But my mom was always could not figure out why I wasn't more scared of Ursula, because that never scared me. I was never, like, there were a lot of like little girls who would run out of the room when Ursula would come on, or want to fast forward through all those scary parts, but like the part where she gets stabbed with the mast of a boat through her stomach and heart, it never really bothered me. I never really ran out of the room screaming and crying. I just kind of thought it was cool. Actually, it's pretty badass, like, of Eric. But yeah, so I don't know. And then, like, so as far as childhood memories go, I remember being depressed from an incredibly young age, mainly because I never fit in with the other kids. I was bullied a lot. I've since kind of been researching and self-diagnosing, mainly because it's expensive, and if you know, you know, that I have autism and ADHD, and I'm definitely on that spectrum. I believe I've mentioned it maybe in a couple of videos prior, but as far as my social skills go, they were always so far behind from everyone else, and my mom just thought there was something wrong with me. My dad, of course, didn't, because he was the same way. But my mom always thought there was something wrong with me, and because of that, I remember going to test after test after test after test. So I remember being very hard on myself and very self-loathing from a very young age. So I think that influenced a lot of my liking of darker subject matters and finding things that I could relate to kind of make my depression not seem as singular, like it was just me. So like, let me see here. Okay, I wanted to sorry for that. You would have been sitting there watching me pause for a really long time to try to figure out where I wanted to go next. So yeah, like, elementary school was rough. I masked a lot of my sadness and depression during those times with princesses. So I kind of hyper fixated on the girl stuff, like hyper fixated on it, because that was the way to get kids to like me, in theory, you know? Like, being myself wasn't good enough, so I would hyperfixate on something that I knew mom would like, thus other kids would also like, if that makes sense. So anyway, however, all of this took a huge left turn as soon as I started hitting puberty, and I was able to finally listen to music that wasn't what my mom listened to. My mom listened to early 90s pop, which, granted, don't get me wrong, I like it. But I prefer more of the grunge from the 90s, all of the like Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Korn, which Korn would be metal, but I prefer metal. I liked pop punk, a lot of the emo stuff. I liked songs that expressed real lyrics, like real emotions in my head, because for me, what was real for me was thoughts of death and suicide, and thoughts of feeling alone and distant from your parents and never being accepted by your peers. That's what I related to. So I listened to a ton of Linkin Park, a lot of Korn, a lot of like all of the early pop punk stuff, like Yellow Card, the heavier metal stuff. I don't know, I was very particular about what I listened to, but it was more along the vein of darker stuff. I listened to the radio a lot, so a lot of the music that I listened to, I didn't really know the band, and I couldn't really get into it as much as I would like to, because my mom didn't want me listening to that stuff. So around this time, I also started listening to a lot more of what my dad listened to, which would be Neil Young, a lot of like the Vietnam protest music, the Beatles, 60s, 70s folk music, like a lot of the Carpenters and things like that, which the lyrics are a little more on the tame side, like the Doors, things like that. But it was about heavy stuff. Like, the melodies were not as harsh and hard as like Korn, but the lyrics were still powerful, and that's what I was interested in. I wasn't really interested so much in the musical part of it, even though that helped. I was more interested in the lyrics. So that's kind of what has fueled my my visual art and things like that too. Yeah, so, you know, I wore black everything. I wasn't allowed to wear a lot of the stuff that I wanted to wear, but if I could have gone full goth, I would have. I definitely would have. Like, down to the Janko jeans and the boots and everything. Everything. It would have just been full goth, emo, whatever genre. Like, yeah, kind of like punk. They all kind of coincide together a little bit, so that's what I would have definitely been wearing had I been given the chance. My mother didn't like me wearing dark makeup. She would complain if even a brown on my eye was too dark. She'd make me take it off. Like, it was, and yeah, I wasn't allowed to wear a lot of things because I wasn't the one buying it. And when I did have money to spend, I would have I made sure to buy things that I knew my mom wasn't going to come through and throw out. Because that was a thing that happened a lot. Like, if my room was too messy, she did it to my other siblings too, it wasn't just me. So that influenced a lot of her reaction to my darkness, influenced a lot of how I reacted or how I kind of presented myself. I tried to be a little more palatable, I guess, because I don't know. Visually, I tried to be a little more palatable, but I wasn't a very nice person. I always had that wall up, and yeah, I'm paying for it now because, yeah, it just is what it is. But there was a lot of dark emotions going on in my brain that kept getting shoved to the wayside because your life's not that bad. You don't have anything to be depressed about. That's just the way life is. Life's not fair, get over it. That kind of thing. So it was just a lot of back and forth and things on my end that I couldn't, basically everything that I just said, everything that I'm talking about right now, all of my darkness and the things that I enjoyed, and like, I never really got too much into serial killers or anything like that, mainly because I knew for a fact that research on that wouldn't be allowed. I knew for a fact that research, so I found my first book on Wicca after I went to college, my first year in 2007, and I bought a book about Wicca from the New Age section, and I hid that book in the depths of my closet, and I didn't pull it out for any reason unless I knew everyone was going to be out of the house and I was going to be home alone and I could just sit in my room and read it, because there was no privacy. At any given point, my mom or dad or anybody would just barge into my bedroom to ask me questions or see if I needed anything, or that kind of crap, which normally didn't bother me, but when I was trying to be alone or have some privacy for 10-15 minutes, being hyper vigilant and knowing that could happen at any point was really kind of a distraction, and I couldn't really focus on anything. So there's that. Everything conflicted with my Catholic upbringing, and because the way I felt about suicide, the way that I wanted, how do I want to word this? The ways in which I thought about suicide and invasive thoughts and all that stuff, it was continuously fed to me that stuff is a sin and that it's not right in the eyes of God and blah blah blah. So basically I was being continuously taught to bypass my emotions, essentially. Not deal with them, just ignore them. They'll go away. And all will be forgiven when you go to heaven. And also my thoughts on death were very different from what I was taught. I was taught that death was finite, when it's really not finite. I mean, everyone has their own beliefs on what happens when you die and all that stuff. But I think for the most part, in most pagan and witchy communities, we can agree to say that we don't really believe that death is the end. That death is the end of this physical body, but you know, your soul or whatever, it's recycled energy, you know. It doesn't just go away and stop. That's not how the earth works. That's not how energy works. That's not how the laws of physics work. So yeah, I was always questioning that and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really think I have anything else. Well, now I work with Lilith, which, you know, she's pretty dark. But yeah, I don't know. I've never feared the shadows. I've never feared the dark. I was kind of gaslit into believing that for a long time, because like in my 20s, when I was married and with my ex-husband, he was the same way. He was very, why are you so dark all the time? Like, why do you like this stuff? Why can't you just be normal? So, but yeah, everyone sees darkness and thinking about it and being immersed in it to a point. People see it as a disease, almost. That's not to belittle any mental health issues. I'm just saying people see thinking about this stuff and wanting to know more about it as a problem, which that's the problem for me. I don't know. So that's all I have. I think I'm just rambling at this point. Hi, kitty. You want to say hi? Just say hi. Okay, go on. Yeah. I'll try to splice this video together and hopefully it's cohesive and makes some sort of sense. Please comment down below if you've had any similar experiences. I would love to hear them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.